Okay, let's just think about this for a second. What are the actual odds? A kid, growing up in the Marcy projects in Brooklyn, navigating a past that, let's be real, included selling crack, that he would one day not just be a global music superstar, but actually outsmart the financial elite. I mean, no Wall Street background, nothing traditional there, and yet builds a multi-billion-dollar empire. We are, of course, talking about Sean Carter, Jay-Z.
Right.
He didn't just play the music game, did he? He kind of rewrote the rules of wealth, of power. It's like he waged this quiet war against a system that first just dismissed him.
Totally dismissed it.
Then tried to define him on their terms. And now they kind of have to follow his lead, don't they?
That's fascinating. Absolutely.
So our mission today in this deep dive, we really want to pull back the curtain. How did he actually do this? It's unprecedented success, really. We're going to try and uncover the real strategies, the stuff you can actually think about behind that billionaire status.
Yeah.
Decode his mindset, which is, well, pretty unconventional.
Very unconventional.
And look at the unique habits, the behaviors that let him build this lasting influence in a world that's just overflowing with noise, right?
Information overload, yeah.
This isn't just another rags to riches tale. It feels more like a blueprint for anyone listening, who wants to understand what building real power and influence looks like, no matter where you start. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating, like you said, is he wasn't just trying to get in the system. He wasn't aiming to just join the club.
Right.
He completely redefined it.
Yeah.
From the ground up. His journey starts with, the bare minimum, really.
Mm-hmm.
A microphone, obviously incredible talent, and this huge dream. But the background, that's the kind of past most investors, most corporate gatekeepers would actively run away from.
Oh, absolutely. They'd see it as a liability.
Exactly. But today, his empire isn't just music. It's high-end champagne. It's cutting-edge tech startups, massive real estate holdings, even sports teams.
Yeah.
And the point isn't just the money itself. It's not about just piling up cash. It's about a fundamentally disruptive way of thinking about how wealth is built, how you wield it, and maybe most importantly, how you use it to create lasting systemic change.
Okay, so let's start there with the mindset. There's this story, this moment that seems to have really crystallized his whole view on money. It didn't happen in a studio, though.
No.
Picture this. Late 90s, he's already successful, platinum records, dressed impeccably, and he's in the lobby of this super fancy apartment building in Tribeca, New York.
Right, I know this one.
He wants to see an apartment he can definitely afford, no question about the money, but he gets denied, flat out.
And why?
Not credit, not finances. It was because apparently the building manager said he was an entertainer, not an executive, not a businessman.
Wow. The labels.
For Jay-Z, that wasn't just, snobbery or a personal insult. It hit deeper. It was this visceral lesson in power dynamics. It basically screamed at him that money wasn't just about the flash, the luxury items, or even just having a big bank account. It was about control.
Control, exactly.
The power to move freely, get access, be treated with respect on your own terms. That moment, it seems, really ignited this understanding that true power wasn't in what you spend. It was all about what you own.
Absolutely. That Tribeca story.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a blip. It feels like a foundational shift. His whole relationship with capital, it sort of pivoted right there. He got it. Real wealth wasn't the car, wasn't the jewelry. It was the assets you controlled. And think about it. At that time, most artists, what were they doing?
Chasing the big advance, right, signing the deal.
Exactly. Signing away their creative output for a big check up front. But Jay-Z, he was already thinking differently. He, Dame Dash, Kareem Bigsburg. They weren't just looking for a label deal. They were building Roc-A-Fella Records.
Building the machine themselves.
Precisely. Not asking for a paycheck from someone else, but building the whole thing that would generate those checks. For him, for others.
That ownership principle just runs through everything, doesn't it?
It became even clearer later, much later, like 2015, when he bought Tidal, that music streaming service.
Which seemed like a crazy move to a lot of people at the time.
Totally. But it wasn't just adding another company to the portfolio. It was philosophical. It was a statement, a direct challenge to the way the music industry worked.
His message was kind of like,
if you don't own the stage, you're always performing for someone else. That's the core idea. Owning the platform, controlling distribution, changing the value chain. It's been this incredibly consistent thread his whole career. It showed he understood, really early on, that power flows to whoever owns the infrastructure.
And that vision, it wasn't just music. He made these bets that honestly looked pretty reckless to outsiders at the time, like investing $2 million in Uber back in 2011.
Yeah, I remember that. People thought he was crazy.
Right. Uber was just this tiny startup, barely known, still figuring things out. A traditional investor would probably run screaming.
By risk, absolutely.
But Jay-Z saw something else. He didn't just see an app. He saw, and I think he used these words, a shift in behavior, a new kind of mobility economy.
He saw the future.
Yeah, he saw how people were changing their relationship with transport, with tech, and he put his money right there at the forefront of that cultural shift, that kind of foresight, spotting those huge societal changes way before they happen.
That's remarkable. It says so much about his read on the market.
And that ability, spotting and then capitalizing on these cultural shifts, it happens again and again. And often, it's actually fueled by moments where he felt disrespected.
Ah, interesting. Like with the champagne.
Exactly. Armand de Brignac, Ace of Spades. That wasn't just him deciding he wanted a fancy champagne brain. You got to know the backstory.
Which was?
It came right after Cristal, another big champagne house, basically dismissed hip-hop culture, make some comments that were seen as pretty derogatory.
Okay, I remember that controversy. So Jay-Z takes that cultural insult, that disrespect, and just brilliantly flips it.
Right.
Turns it into generational wealth.
Oh.
He systematically makes Ace of Spades the champagne of hip-hop. It's in his videos, it's at his events. He positions it strategically as the drink for his culture. He basically cultivated this huge new luxury market that Crystal and the others had ignored or looked down on.
Wow.
It wasn't just about selling bottles, it was reclaiming the narrative.
Yeah.
And then years later, sells 50% to LVMH, the luxury giant, owns Moet, all those brands, for a reported $300 million.
Incredible.
That's not just smart business. That's leveraging cultural capital, turning a slight into massive financial power, and validating a whole cultural movement while he's at it.
Which then perfectly leads into that famous line, right? I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Yes.
Classic. And it's so much more than just clever lyrics. It really sums up his entire approach, doesn't it? He's not chasing the quick paycheck. He's relentlessly focused on ownership, on building equity that lasts. He designs these complex ecosystems: music, luxury, tech, sports. And he puts himself right in the middle, controlling the flow.
He's the central node, not just playing in the system.
Yeah.
And this makes you wonder, really, how many people listening right now truly get the difference between just earning income and actually building equity in their own lives, their own careers?
That's a really good question.
Jay-Z isn't looking for a salary or just a royalty or even a big one-off fee. He's building these self-sustaining platforms that grow in value over time, generating long-term wealth, not just, short-term cash.
And there's an emotional core to this too, isn't there? Coming from Marcy Project?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
deeply rooted in that upbringing. He saw firsthand what it meant to have no control. Watching his mom work multiple jobs, seeing friends lost to violence or jail because they lacked options.
So for him, control over money.
It isn't vanity. It isn't ego. It's survival. It's fundamental. It's like a shield against that instability he grew up with. And that explains why money never sits still for him. Every dollar, every asset, it's a seed for future leverage. Always reinvested, always working to create more opportunity, more influence, more control.
It's fascinating because, traditional investors, they're watching market trends, quarterly reports, what's hot now.
Right, the standard metrics.
But Jay-Z invests in cultural shifts. He sees where culture is moving, how behavior is subtly changing, how people are consuming things differently. And he puts his bets right there at that intersection of relevance and ownership. He's not just investing in successful things. He's often redefining whole categories, creating new markets because he gets where the zeitgeist is headed before anyone else.
Precisely. Look at champagne. He took it from this sort of stuffy, exclusive thing for one demographic.
Yeah, very old world luxury.
And made it celebratory, embraced by global hip-hop culture, and then ultimately brings it into a major luxury house like LVMH. With Tidal, he took a basic streaming service, focused on artist equity, and turned it into this powerful statement about artist empowerment, championing fairer pay.
Shaking things up.
These aren't passive investments. He's actively reshaping industries, challenging the old power structures,
Yeah.
creating new value, not just chasing what's already there.
So the big takeaway here for you listening, it's maybe not about buying champagne or a tech company tomorrow. It's about rethinking what money is actually for. Jay-Z isn't using it just to look rich, not for conspicuous consumption. He's using it like a tool, a sophisticated tool to buy freedom, create leverage, build real influence. He's playing a totally different game.
A game where silent equity beats loud consumption. Every time.
So maybe ask yourself, are you using money just to feel powerful for a moment? Or are you using it to actually become powerful in the long run? Thinking about his approach, how might focusing on silent equity change your own financial goals or strategies?
A powerful question.
Okay, now to really get the roots of this mindset, we got to rewind. Back to 1995, Jay-Z's 26, tons of talent, ambition. He's got this album ready.
Reasonable doubt.
Exactly. But he gets shut out completely. Every major label, Def Jam, Atlantic, Capitol doors slam shut.
The reasons they gave were just, wow.
Yeah, brutal. Too street, too niche, not marketable to the mainstream. For most artists, that level of rejection from everyone, that's the end of the dream right there.
Crushing. Absolutely crushing for most people.
But for Jay-Z, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning, the strategic spark for a whole new way of doing things.
He didn't just pack up and go home. He didn't beg. He just built his own table, then his own room, then his own damn house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Him, Dame Dash, Biggs Burke, they launched Roc-A-Fella Records. And when we say launch, we mean really launch. They funded it themselves, pressed their own CDs, sold them out of car trunks, went straight to DJs, indie record stores.
Hustle, but with a strategy.
It was more than hustle. It was vertical integration from the ground up. Jay-Z wasn't just the artist. He was the label, the A&R, the marketer, the distributor, everything. Reasonable Doubt wasn't just an album. It was his business thesis. Complete control, end to end.
Owning his masters from day one. Capturing all the value.
Building a moat around his brand before that was even really a common concept in music.
Yeah.
Total autonomy.
And that spirit, that absolute need for control, it just became the foundation for everything else he built, didn't it?
Absolutely. Like Roc-A-Wear. He sees these clothing lines making bank off hip-hop culture.
Without really giving back or understanding it.
Exactly. So he doesn't just complain, he competes. Launches Roc-A-Wear in '99. It becomes massive, dominant in streetwear.
Huge success.
But then, 2007, it's peaking. He senses the market shifting, fast fashion, more agile brands coming up. So what does he do?
Just sells it.
Sells it for a staggering $204 million at its peak. Knew exactly when to get out.
Smart exit.
Then he starts Roc Nation, which starts as a label, sure, but evolves way beyond that. Full-service entertainment powerhouse. Managing artists like Rihanna.
Global superstars.
Athletes like Kevin Durant. Producers. Producing huge events like the Super Bowl halftime. Roc Nation isn't just representing talent. It's a platform, a launch pad, designed to amplify, empower, not just a product.
It really highlights that he doesn't think in singles or albums or even single companies. He thinks in ecosystems.
Ecosystems, that's the perfect word. Every move, every investment, every partnership. Yeah. It's a deliberate building block in this bigger interconnected empire.
Which is incredibly diverse now.
Oh yeah, music, obviously. Sports is past, taking the nets, Roc Nation Sports. Tech those early bets on Uber, Ethos, Robinhood, Culture Title, his cannabis brand, Monogram.
It's all connected.
And strategically intertwined. It's not just diversification 101. It's a masterclass in using success in one area to fuel and amplify another, creating this reinforcing network of influence, capital, leave them right at the center. Cross-promotion, shared networks, leveraging one win to open doors elsewhere.
It's like chess, isn't it? Always thinking multiple moves ahead. Like when he became president of Def Jam in 2008.
Right. Looked like, a rapper taking a corporate job.
Yeah, a bit unexpected.
But he used that position brilliantly, not just to lead, but to learn the inside game of a major label, to sign and develop huge talents like Rihanna, Neo.
Who became massive under his watch.
And when he left Def Jam, he didn't leave empty-handed. He took the blueprint, how to find talent, nurture it, scale it, use corporate muscle. And he applied all that knowledge to Roc Nation, taking it to a whole new level. He basically learned their system and built his own better version.
There's that pattern again, leverage.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Uses one domain to build leverage in the next. Music gave him access, cultural cred, a huge audience. Fashion gave him capital, brand expertise. Sports gave him influence in new, elite circles. Tech gave him scalability, reach.
And he's the thread connecting it all. Street smarts and boardroom vision.
It all comes back to ownership. He turned every closed door into a reason to build his own infrastructure, to create his own market. Other artists chased fame, royalties. He chased equity, infrastructure. His portfolio isn't just a list of deals. It's this web of power centers, all feeding each other.
And it feels like he's building for something beyond himself, too. It's not just about his own success now.
That's maybe the most profound part. The long-term institutional vision. He builds for continuity, for something that outlasts him. Roc Nation isn't just a business. It's designed to be a launch pad for other Black creatives, entrepreneurs, to create opportunities in industries that historically lack that diversity at the top.
So his career strategy wasn't just about escaping poverty for himself.
No, it was about laying groundwork, creating an institution that lives beyond him, a legacy far bigger than just his music, which really makes you think, for anyone listening, are you just building a brand for yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you building a platform that actually lifts others up too, creating lasting impact?
Yeah, that's a powerful distinction. Okay, let's shift a bit to his habits, his unique behaviors. Because when you picture a top rapper, the image is often, well, stereotypical, right?
Flashy, loud, constant media.
Yeah. But Jay-Z, in his most powerful moments, he's often the quiet one in the boardroom. Muted colors, listening more than talking, absorbing. That contrast, it feels very deliberate.
It absolutely is. It's strategic. His habits totally subvert the norms. While everyone else is chasing eyeballs, attention, constant visibility, Jay-Z has mastered using invisibility as a weapon.
How so?
He's rarely on social media in a personal way, almost never does interviews about his business deals specifically, doesn't telegraph his next move. He lets the results, the ownership filings, the SEC disclosures, the Forbes lists do the talking for him.
In a noisy world, he builds quietly.
Exactly. Quietly, precisely, deliberately. It creates this mystique, this power. People have to come to him to figure out what he's doing. His actions speak louder than any tweet.
And the planning.
Yeah.
It's incredible how far ahead he seems to think these major deals aren't impulsive.
Not at all. Years in advance, sometimes. Meticulously laying groundwork. Like before the LVMH deal for Armando Brignac, he spent years reshaping the champagne narrative in hip-hop, building the market for it, making it aspirational within his culture, cultivating the demand. So when LVMH came in, they were buying into something already culturally validated.
He created the value first.
And same with Tidal. Before the sale to Square, he was already talking about artist equity, getting artists involved as owners, planting those seeds for that shift in thinking. These weren't lucky breaks, they were long games, built on timing, leverage, groundwork.
And his preparation goes deep, doesn't it? It's not just strategy.
He's a voracious reader, not gossip columns, but business journals, financial news, deep dives on emerging markets, cultural trend reports. People say he's obsessed with data.
But not just numbers.
Not just spreadsheets. He's looking for patterns, shifts in consumer behavior, what Gen Z wants before it shows up on a chart, the psychology behind trends. He gets that cultural data often comes before financial data. It's like battlefield prep. Arming himself with every bit of insight before making a move.
And then there's that fascinating tactic, the way he can almost play dumb while being incredibly sharp.
Yeah, the underestimation strategy. He learned that back in Brooklyn, apparently. Let people underestimate you, lower their guard.
Like in those executive meetings.
Yeah, exactly. Execs assume he won't get the complex finance stuff. He brings his own analysts, then dissects their numbers with surprising depth. Or when brands offer him big money just to endorse something.
An influencer deal.
Right. He doesn't just take the check. He negotiates for ownership, partial ownership in the company. He sees entry points into the system of power, not just a quick payday.
Opting for equity over cash, again.
And it's striking how little ego seems to drive these decisions. While others flash wealth for status, he uses silence strategically. That quote is perfect. You can't be the loudest person in the room and expect to own it.
His whole aesthetic now is minimalist, understated.
Quiet luxury. It sends a signal, doesn't it? I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to control, to assess, to gain leverage.
And behind it all, there's this incredible discipline, like how he writes lyrics in his head.
Yeah, never writes them down, hones memory, mental structure. But that same brain power, he applies it to analyzing cap tables, the ownership breakdown of companies, to growth metrics for startups. The same intuition that made the blueprint is vetting deals.
Amazing transfer of skill.
He also fiercely manages access. Tiny inner circle of trusted partners, cuts out distractions, guards his decision-making process like gold. That focus explains why he has so few public business mistakes. His circle is tight, his process is methodical.
And there's maybe a deeper driver too. Survival.
I think so. He knows that in industries still dominated by white capital, legacy networks, a black billionaire is still an outlier, still challenges the status quo. So every habit, the reading, the quiet moves, the asset accumulation, it's all built around staying in the game, thriving longer, deeper than anyone expected.
So the challenge for you listening, are your habits just about being seen? Or are they designed to make power inevitable, something that compounds over time?
Big difference.
Okay, let's dig into his philosophy, because it's not just business tactics. There are core principles driving his decisions, right?
Absolutely. It's all rooted in this fundamental belief. If you don't own your life, someone else will. That's not just a lyric, it's his operating system.
And you saw that really early on.
Definitely. That story about turning down a big distribution deal, great money, industry validation.
But he walked away. Why?
Because they wanted creative control. They wanted ownership of his masters. And for Jay-Z, that was a non-starter. In an industry famous for chewing up artists, taking their IP for short-term cash, he insisted from day one on being a partner, not a pawn. That set the tone for everything. Autonomy first.
And Tidal really feels like the ultimate expression of that, doesn't it? Buying it in 2015.
It was more than just business. It felt like a protest. He saw Spotify, Apple Music, how they were, in his view, devaluing music, underpaying artists.
Commodifying it.
Yeah. So he buys Tidal for $56 million, restructures the payouts to be higher for artists. And then, this was revolutionary, brings in huge names like Beyonce, Kanye, Madonna, Rihanna as co-owners, gives them equity.
The message being?
Artists deserve equity, not just fractions of pennies per stream. They deserve a stake in the platforms distributing their art.
But the reaction initially was pretty negative, wasn't it?
Oh, people scoffed. Tech world, finance world, even some in music. A rapper running a tech company. Vanity project. Total dismissal. They didn't get the vision. Until 2021. He sells 80% of Tidal to Jack Dorsey's Square Now block for $302 million. And keeps the board seat and 20% ownership. Suddenly everyone realized this wasn't ego, this was architecture. He'd quietly built this bridge between culture and Silicon Valley, proved cultural capital could translate to massive tech value, and walked away with his ownership intact, validated the whole play.
So his decisions really hinge on two things, values and leverage.
Exactly. He's not asking, what's in it for me now? He's asking, does this make me stronger, more independent, more impactful in 5 years?
Which explains why he'd walk away from deals.
Deals with companies profiting off black culture but not reinvesting, not offering real partnership. Or why, with Armand de Brignac, he refused to sell 100%, kept 50% to ensure he was negotiating with LVMH as an equal partner. Always the long game. Always maintaining control.
And that ties into his idea about change, not charity.
I'm not into charity. I'm into change. Powerful quote. And you see it everywhere. Funding criminal justice reform, legal aid, co-founding Reform Alliance with Meek Mill for parole reform. These aren't just donations. They're structural plays designed to change who decides the rules, especially for marginalized communities, investing in systemic transformation.
And at the core of it all is this rejection of dependency.
Absolutely. He gets that power given can be taken away. So he doesn't ask for access. He builds access points and teaches others how to build their own tables too.
Which is what Roc Nation embodies, in a way.
Totally. It's an institution. Signing artists, yes, but also fighting wrongful convictions, producing the Super Bowl halftime, mentoring first-gen entrepreneurs. It's building access and opportunity from the ground up.
So it's not about chasing every shiny opportunity. It's about alignment.
Rigorously about alignment. Does it fit the blueprint for long-term power? If it compromises autonomy, limits impact, doesn't align with his values. He walks or pivots. Always the long game. His net worth isn't random. It's the direct result of decades of these consistent values-driven decisions. Proof that wealth comes from intentional action over time.
So the question for you listening, are your decisions just building income for today? Or are they building lasting power that truly aligns with your values and your long-term vision?
Something to really think about.
Okay, let's talk about power thinking, social influence. That photo of him having lunch with Warren Buffett.
Iconic. On the Forbes cover, 2010.
It wasn't just a photo op, was it? It felt like a strategic signal.
Huge signal to the world, especially Wall Street, saying cultural capital, leveraged properly, belongs at the same table as generational wealth, traditional finance. And he wasn't there as a fan. He was there as a peer, negotiating power, learning, legitimizing a new kind of influence.
Because he understands influence differently, doesn't he? It's not just being famous.
Way beyond visibility or follower counts. He gets that influence is the ability to shape outcomes without forcing them, to subtly guide industries, conversations, even policy. He uses his celebrity, his network, his brand as these silent levers within global systems, business, politics, philanthropy, finance, making things happen behind the scenes.
And Marcy Venture Partners feels like a prime example of that power thinking.
Oh, absolutely revolutionary. Naming his VC firm after the projects he grew up in, that's a statement.
What's the statement?
That someone from the projects can not only succeed, but can lead the deployment of capital into the future. consumer goods, tech, sustainability. It wasn't just another celebrity fund.
And the investments reflect that.
Totally. Brands like Rihanna's Savage X Fenty, super inclusive, Partake Foods, allergen-free cookies, their body wellness tech. It's not just about returns, though they're successful. It's about driving representation, equity, and redefining who gets to build the next unicorns. Funding diverse founders.
His influence is often structured kind of behind the scenes, right? Like the NFL partnership in 2019.
Yeah, that caused a stir. Lots of backlash. People felt he was compromising on social justice, given the Kaepernick situation.
Right, I remember the criticism.
But what many didn't see was the long game. That partnership gave Roc Nation unprecedented access to the league's inner circle, allowing them to directly influence the Super Bowl halftime shows, turning them into major cultural moments with Black artists. Influence marketing campaigns, community grants for social justice. What looked like just branding was actually a deep positioning strategy. Getting inside rooms usually closed off to someone like him, steering things from within.
And he uses his platform for direct action, too, with Team ROC.
Consistently. Paying legal fees for families hit by police brutality, funding documentaries on wrongful convictions like Khalif Browder's story, lobbying for criminal justice reform. Again, not just charity. It's building infrastructure for justice, using capital and credibility for systemic change.
What's maybe most unique is how he uses his identity, his background. It's an asset, not a liability.
Masterful. His upbringing, struggles, cultural lens, he hasn't diluted any of it for corporate spaces. Yeah. He forced them to come to him. He made corporations learn hip-hop's language, its values, its power. Didn't assimilate. He made them adapt.
And he even uses silence strategically.
Oh, yeah. Walks into high-stakes meetings, often minimally dressed, no entourage. It forces focus on substance, breaks expectations, resets the power dynamic. Like he says, the most powerful person isn't always the loudest. It's the one who doesn't need to be explained. Their presence commands respect.
So his influence lasts because it's not just about him being famous now.
It's built on institutions, frameworks, legacy, not fleeting trends. While others chase followers, he's building frameworks for others to succeed, cultivating legacy. That's why he's relevant in boardrooms and rap verses. So the question for you, are you just using influence to collect followers? Or are you using it to change who gets to lead, to shape the future? Big difference in impact.
Okay, let's talk crisis strategy. Because every empire faces tests, right? And Jay-Z seems to not just weather storms, but use them.
It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it? How he thrives in turbulence. Instead of crumbling, he recalibrates, uses crisis to future-proof his moves.
Let's look at Roc-A-Fella again. 2007. It's huge. $700 million in sales. Symbol of hip-hop crossover success.
Most people would cling to that, right? Ego, pride.
But Jay-Z sensed the market shifting. Fast fashion, agile streetwear.
Exactly. So instead of clinging to it, he sells to Iconics for $204 million. Sells before the decline at its absolute peak. Classic long game move, prioritizing legacy cash, not ego equity. No sentimentality, proactive exit.
And he didn't just bank the cash, he redeployed it aggressively.
Immediately into scalable, future-proof assets. Prime Soho real estate, that amazing art collection, which appreciated massively, and crucial equity in disruptors like Uber and Douce Cognac.
Each move a hedge.
A hedge against volatility in music or fashion, yeah. But also deepening his influence in sectors shaping the next decade.
Yeah.
Protection against downturns, but also against future irrelevance. Positioning for sustained growth.
Which brings us to 2020, global pandemic. Entertainment industry basically shuts down.
Paralyzed. Revenues plummeting everywhere.
And Jay-Z's portfolio
grows. He closes 2 massive deals. Sells 50% of Armando Brignac to LVMH. Sells a majority stake in Title to Square for $302 million. During the pandemic.
How? Why then?
It shows he gets that crisis magnifies value if you have foresight and liquidity. He saw the power of exiting strategically when others were frozen by fear. He could command premium prices. His strategy seems to be exit emotionally, enter structurally.
Meaning?
He doesn't panic sell, he orchestrates. Sees downturns as windows to reposition, acquires distressed assets, or sells into opportune moments when others can't move. When others freeze, he pivots decisively. Always the long game.
Like launching Monogram, his cannabis brand, during that reeling economy.
Right. Traditional investors were hoarding cash. He saw where policy, culture, capital were heading with cannabis.
Yeah.
He bet not just on profit, but on shaping policy reform, driving equity in that new industry, establishing first-mover credibility. He saw the future industry being built and wanted to shape it equitably.
So underneath it all is this mindset, liquidity over legacy.
Very few grasp this. He's not sentimental about assets. If something stops aligning, stops generating future value, hits its peak. He sells, reinvests, doesn't get stuck in yesterday's success.
Always building for 5 years from now.
Exactly. Always anticipating the next shift. That's what's rare. Most people protect what they built. He reinvents. Engineers permanence by never standing still.
Yeah.
Constantly evolving.
So, final thought for you listening. When the pressure hits personal, market, industry, do you freeze, react, or do you try to redesign your future from the wreckage? See opportunity in the chaos.
It's a fundamental choice.
So, wrapping this up,
Yeah.
Jay-Z's story, it's really more than music, fame, or even the incredible wealth. It's about profound evolution, isn't it?
Totally. Started with nothing, structurally speaking, and systematically rewired the system in his favor.
Didn't ask permission, didn't chase validation. He just built new frameworks where none existed, and then scaled them again and again across different industries, always keeping control.
And the core lesson, it's so clear. True wealth isn't just what you earn. It's about what you control. The assets, the narratives, the access, the relationships that generate value over time.
He didn't get to $2.5 billion playing their game. He changed the rules, saw value in culture itself, saw brand as positioning. Attention is equity, if you structure it right. And ownership. It was philosophical. Autonomy.
Bet early. Stayed quiet. Moved precisely. Exited strategically, mastered turning visibility into leverage, then leverage into quiet, compounding institutional power, built to last.
And it's not just a story for artists, is it?
Not at all. It's a masterclass for anyone facing uncertainty, rejection, reinvention. His lessons on resilience, acquiring assets in storms, boldness, timing over flash, leadership engineered through consistent choices. They apply everywhere.
He plays the longest game, not just winning the moment, but shaping the next couple decades.
Aiming for lasting impact. Structural change.
So what does this all mean for you listening? As you think about Jay-Z's journey, maybe ask yourself, what game are you really playing? In your life, your career, your ambitions, and maybe more importantly, who truly owns the rules of that game? Are they yours? Or are you playing by rules someone else designed?
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
Keep designing your own path, your own audacious path to power and influence.